Simple garden lunches, fresh flowers, sunny days on the porch, splashing around in water, quilts and laundry, line drying. Summer is one of my most favorite times of the year to be a homemaker, and today I want to invite you into our farmhouse for some beautiful summer homemaking. I am currently working in my business on a few sourdough resources. So one is a published sourdough cookbook and the other is a sourdough course. And one thing I wanted to share with you about this challah, excuse my pronunciation, dough, is that I actually used a discard in order to rise this dough. You know, it wasn't until recently, whenever things really started taking off with sourdough around 2020, that I learned so many technical things about sourdough that I didn't previously know or do in my kitchen. And one thing that I didn't know, and honestly, I'm still not even sure why it's a rule, is that you can't pull sourdough starter directly from the fridge to rise dough. I'm here to tell you that if you have an active starter, you most certainly can. That is what I did here with this dough. I wanted to make this. I did not feed my sourdough starter in advance. Now, keep in mind, my sourdough starter is always active to an extent because I use it on a regular basis. So it might have been in the fridge, but it had been fed at some point in the last couple days, maybe 3-4 days, something like that. But it was cold and it was not bubbly and active when I threw it into this dough. And yet you saw how high and tall it was. Now, what I like about this, it's a lot like a brioche dough, but it uses oil instead of butter. So it's an enriched dough with eggs and oil. I love the brioche, but whenever you're out of butter, which was the case today, I did not have my fridge stocked with butter. So I just used avocado oil. You can use any neutral tasting oil, or even if it's not neutral tasting, one that would complement whatever you're planning to make with the bread dough. And it's just such a nice complement for a summer meal. I can't wait to show you later what I do with it. Now you can get the full printable recipe for this over on farmhouseonboone.com. I added to my mixer a cup of sourdough starter. The recipe says active and bubbly, but I'm here to tell you my little secret that I actually used it straight from the fridge. 3.5 cups of bread flour, 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour, 1/3 cup each of honey and oil, 3 eggs, 2 teaspoons of salt, and 1/2 cup water. I did that last night, let it knead in the mixer till it was smooth and glossy, and then let it rise overnight before shaping and doing a second rise, which I'm doing today. I have a bit of laundry to tend to, like I do every day. We really try to keep up on the laundry with the boys' quilts. I like to let them dry on the front porch just because it's so easy to put them out there. So I usually only do 1 or 2 quilts at a time and then let them rise, swap them out. We have 4 of these exact same quilts. And then I'm just sorting laundry. I do 2 baskets, one for the kids, one for me and Luke. There's a swim basket and then kitchen rags. Usually once I've done this quick sort that takes about 5 minutes, the laundry room feels manageable again. And I don't have to actually go put any laundry away. I can just store it right in those baskets. I had a few friends in town recently and they noticed my wicker baskets. These are the little details to me throughout the home where you can blend function along with form. So containing a bunch of ugly, not put away laundry in a wicker basket is a great way to keep the laundry routine easy yet aesthetic. It doesn't really require any more effort other than just sourcing a couple of wicker baskets. I found both of mine at different times at antique shops. I only had one for a while, and then I saw one recently at an antique shop and I decided to pick it up because I had an ugly basket in there, which isn't a big deal. If all you have is ugly baskets, that's totally fine. But whenever you can take these small little things and make your mess more visually appealing, it makes a difference in homemaking, in my opinion. So that wicker basket is one of my most recent antique shop finds, and I haven't done a proper antique haul in a while. I used to do these on my channel all the time. So I'm going to share that later in this video. I have about 4 pieces that I have acquired since last time I've done an antique shopping haul video. And actually, as I'm looking around my house, I'm like, wait a minute, I actually have even more than that, but I'll share with you the most notable ones. So it'll be a little miniature antique haul. Now, after the bread dough sat in my warming spot between the burners, it only took about an hour and a half for it to double. I brush it with an egg wash and then get it into a 425-degree oven for about 25 minutes. I want to take a break from my homemaking to tell you about today's video sponsor, Thrive Market. Thrive Market is an online membership-based grocery store that allows you to get guaranteed savings. They actually do a price match. So if you find something that is a better price, Thrive Market will guarantee that. They specialize in having natural and organic items. I like to stock up on things like einkorn flour and pasta, seasonings, spices, organic condiments. Lots of the pantry staples in my home come from Thrive Market. Thrive Market offers a month-to-month membership option for $12 a month. So you can go on there, check it out, see if there's anything that maybe you're already buying in your home that's for a cheaper price on Thrive Market, or there might be some things that you don't currently have access to. Or you can save quite a bit on your subscription by paying for the year at $5 a month. So it's billed annually at $59.95, so it's a lot cheaper per month. This is the option that I've always chosen. I don't live in a big city where there are health food stores or places to get some of the different ingredients or supplements that I like to have in my home, and so I love Thrive Market for that. Their website allows you to sort by dietary preference, so if you are paleo, gluten-free, dairy-free, you can make it to where only those options show up. Makes it a very streamlined, easy to use shopping experience, and then everything's delivered right to your door. Free shipping over $49 in the US. Thrive Market is offering Farmhouse on Boone viewers 30% off your first order plus a free gift worth up to $60 by visiting my link thrivemarket.com/Farmhouse on Boone. It'll also be linked in the description box below. Another little detail that I especially enjoy in our kitchen all through the egg laying months, which is basically everything except for winter. When it gets dark, they don't lay as much, is to keep eggs out on the counter as decor. We sourced the breeds of chickens for this purpose, to have dark brown and blues and greens and light tans and all various colors. Now, the way that I do this, because I get asked a lot, like, how do you rotate them? I use a few different baskets. So I'll have one basket sitting by the stove that is intended to be the oldest eggs so that people will quickly grab them because they're sitting so close to the stove. And then whenever that basket's full, I will put one that's further away from the stove with the newer eggs. And then I don't fill the one by the stove up until it's empty and then swap it out. So that way we're always using the oldest eggs by the stove. That's not a super diligent first in, first out type of system. But because we use so many eggs in our house, it definitely works well enough. Theodore is only going to be the baby for a few more weeks, and it's just so hard to believe. He is going to be 2 in October, and he's talking so much, new words all the time. I just love this stage with babies because they are constantly learning new words that you're surprised that they know. It's such an exciting time, that 18 months to 2.5. Now, I'm not saying that it's also not a challenging age. If I have to pick the hardest one to watch and care for right now in our family, it is most certainly him, but it is also a very fun little stage to witness. And I can't believe that he's about to be a big brother. This is our closest age gap that we've had. I mostly have the babies 2 to 2.5 years apart. So I'm pretty surprised that this baby is going to be born 3 months before Theo's 2nd birthday. My last 3 babies were all born in the fall, October, and December. So this pregnancy is weird because I feel like I'm not at the end of it. I haven't wrapped my brain around it at all. I haven't thought about birth, and I'm at the very end of it. But I think typically just my pattern, other than one baby who was born at the end of summer, Everybody else was born in cold weather. And so I associate the end of pregnancy with it starting to get darker earlier, with the garden winding down, with fires in the wood stove, with the leaves starting to turn or even be completely done in the dead of winter. And so I have seasonally had a difficult time mentally grasping that I'm about to have another baby. I haven't shared a whole lot of pregnancy content on here, but I do plan to share a prepping for baby and prepping for the home birth video next week. And then I also shot a Q&A for my Simple Farmhouse Life podcast. So it's a pregnancy, birth, and baby Q&A. I put a little question box over on Instagram, and I got a lot of great questions, and I filmed that one at 37 weeks pregnant. It'll be coming out it'll be out now, actually, I believe. So you can head over to the Simple Farmhouse Life podcast over on Spotify, Apple, or even we have a Simple Farmhouse Life podcast YouTube channel. It's on a separate channel from this one. So if you aren't subscribed to that and you are interested in seeing my pregnancy update as well as my birth plans, and then also I have tons of great interviews over there. I interview a lot of people that you probably know here on YouTube and Instagram that are in a similar niche to me, and it's a really fun way to share that more long form content and discussion. In the summer, we oftentimes do a cold lunch, which involves putting crackers, hard-boiled eggs, deli meats, cheeses on a board. Sourdough bread is a wonderful addition. Today, I'm making pickled onions to go with it. These were a huge hit. We finished them in less than a week, or maybe less than 3 or 4 days. So it's equal parts vinegar and water, and then a little sugar, just like those refrigerator pickles. My mom always has those or had those in the summer, where you do cucumbers and dill in some vinegar, water, and sugar. Same thing. These are so good and fast. You can eat them right away. They taste good if they sit in the fridge for a while. I especially do like them to be cold. So I got them going in the little brine, shook them up, and put them in the refrigerator till it was time to eat. I think we had about an hour between assembling these and then actually having lunch. One of my favorite things about summer is fresh flowers. I wish I would spend more time to get them all over our farmhouse, but most of the time an arrangement for the kitchen is something I like to do at the least, and typically all I get to. Today's arrangement has a bunch of random things because we don't have too many flowers just yet in the garden. They are popping up and starting to bloom like crazy, but I'm pulling from the landscaping, from herbs, from roses, just to put together an arrangement. And I love this one. So this one, the star of the show, in my opinion, is cilantro that went to seed and sage that went to seed. So beautiful next to a black-eyed Susan, a couple zinnias, a couple roses. There's just a really nice mix going on in here. I also made some homemade mayo, which I do all summer long. For the egg wash for my bread earlier, I used an egg yolk. So I threw the white that had been reserved from that into the mayo. So it ended up being an egg plus an egg white. Typically the recipe just calls for an egg, but I always like to throw in, if I have an egg white from something or an egg yolk for something, just having a stray egg white in the refrigerator, it ends up getting pushed to the back of the fridge. We don't use it. So I like to throw it in something before it even makes its way into the refrigerator. So that way it actually gets used and not wasted. One of the most beautiful ingredients all summer, of course, is fresh herbs. So for this sandwich, we also topped it with fresh thyme from the garden. This afternoon, it's time to address a project I've been putting off. That is these Rub and Buff handles. I shared a kitchen makeover in the spring where we painted the cabinets. I painted the existing hardware with Rub and Buff. It rubs off. And so many of you told me that the key is to properly prepare the surface of the handles, and there's a special coating you can put on top of the Rub and Buff. And I have meant to do that forever. But what actually ended up happening is every time I go into the kitchen, I notice my handles that need attention. There are so many projects like that around the house, around the homestead, where you have great intentions to do them, but until they're done, every time you see them, it gives you that little, like you see it and you think, oh, I need to do that, I need to do that. And it gives you this stressful moment. And I have it right here in my kitchen that I use daily. So the other day I just got online, ordered the 3-inch center, already done handles, and thought, you know what, I'm going to just get this done so that I don't have to worry about it anymore. As much as I know that I could do this the proper way, I need to get it done so it stops being a mental burden for me. Now, the next key is going to be finding latches for the cabinets, not just the pulls, but the cabinet latches that match. I couldn't find the right color. I ordered some that I thought would be the right color. They were not. So this just needs to be another 20-minute job where I get online, find the proper ones, and get this off my chest so I don't have to worry about it. You know, sometimes it's like a less than $50 and less than 20-minute solution, and it messes with your stress levels way more than it's worth. I took the opportunity while doing this to clean out my cabinets. I found so many things in there that I don't feel add to my life and only make the drawers cluttered and chaotic. And so while I was at it, I took the chance to clean those out. Another task I've been putting off that's been kind of driving me nuts, and I needed to check it off my list, which I did make a list. Sometimes that helps you to mentally get things off your plate, is to pick a day that you're going to do it, make a list, and then on that day, you have to do it. You know, there's always that moment where you're like, ugh, I don't want to wash the slip covers or change out the hardware, but then I feel so much better about my home when everything is kept up and maintained. The slip covers on the wingback chairs I made 5 or 6 years ago, maybe more, around 5 or 6 years ago. And I keep thinking that they're done. They have been used and washed too many times, but then every time after I wash them, I think, you know what, I can stand these a little bit longer. I do want to add some more color to the living room, but the decision fatigue on finding the types of chairs that I want and pillows, for now, I'm just going to keep maintaining what I already have. This is the segment of the video where I want to share with you my most recent antique finds, a little antique haul. This rug I found locally on Facebook Marketplace for $2. Isn't that nuts? I was going to put it in my daughter's bathroom, but I plopped it down here under these baskets at the bottom of the steps, and it just looked so pretty with all the pattern with the wallpaper and the rug. And now I feel that there should always be a rug there. Another Facebook Marketplace find was this canopy bed. They're really hard to find with a canopy like this, so I was very happy to find it. Another find that you've seen on my videos if you follow along, but I haven't officially talked about it on Antique Haul, at least I don't think I have, is this armoire. And maybe I have, but we'll talk about it anyways. This was a Facebook Marketplace find. I want to find one exactly like it, but I haven't been able to, for the boys' room, because it's a knockdown wardrobe, so it goes upstairs easily. Of course, we didn't bring it up the stairs this time. It was less than $300. I want to say $250 maybe. What I love about it is it's very good condition. The doors shut, which with antiques is a big deal. Sometimes you buy something that it seems like a really good deal, but then the doors never shut. That's how we're working with our armoire. In our main bedroom, the doors don't shut properly, and now it's just a bigger job to actually get rid of it and get a new one, and it just makes more sense to choose quality from the beginning. For dinner tonight, I am making a pasta that I saw on Joshua Weissman's YouTube channel. If you are looking for a very entertaining food channel, that is one that I really like. I just find it so fun to watch. I get lots of good information. And he was making one pot pastas. I think in the video, he was actually making fun of the concept of one pot pastas, saying like, how hard is it to boil your noodles in a different pot? And he was putting up one pot pastas against pastas that were made the traditional way. But all I took from it was that one pot pasta looked really good. And I'm not going to be a purist here. I can make something that isn't authentically Italian if it tastes great. So this Cajun pasta he made sounded good to me. So I started by cutting the chicken thinner. I had some big, bulky chicken breasts from my sister's farm in order to cook them fast, give them that nice color, but not overcook them. Cutting them down the middle with nice sharp knives is the way to go. I cooked them in avocado oil, set them aside, and then added to my pot some diced tomatoes, garlic, and onion until it got nice and flavorful and aromatic. I forgot to mention that I also had added in some butter, but it's all still in the same pot. Then I added in some Cajun seasoning, some organic pasta, gave that a stir. Now I'm trying to remember the amounts that he said when you want to do a one pot. So I did 1 package of pasta and a quart of water. I think he had done half of that, but I remember thinking, okay, I want to remember this so that way I always know what to do for a 1-pot pasta. And I'm pretty sure it's 1 quart of water for a package of pasta. You don't want to have too much water so you have to drain anything off, but then you also want it al dente. I then added in a quart of heavy whipping cream. So you do the small amount of water with the lid on till it's absorbed into the pasta. And then you do the cream and you leave the lid off and stir it till it gets really creamy. We have been making so much ice cream around here. We've been doing equal parts of milk and cream and then some sugar. I used to think that you had to blend it or cook the milk till the sugar was dissolved and then cool the custard. But once it churns, the sugar all incorporates. And so now we just skip that step and it's so much easier. To my pasta, I add in the juice of a lemon, finely diced chicken, some freshly grated Parmesan cheese, and thyme. This one was a hit. Everybody really loved it. We're ready to make it again. In fact, my daughter wants to have a tea party with some friends. She's planning a tea party with some friends. And this is the recipe that she wants to make for it because it's so good. I do have a few that are sensitive to spices. Actually, honestly, just one. The boys all love hot sauce. I have one daughter who hates spicy. And though I did not find this all that spicy, she did. So I would reduce the Cajun seasoning next time around. Getting my slipcovers back on the chairs while they're still a little bit damp because then they dry less wrinkly. I put them out on the porch for a little while, but then I let them finish drying actually on the chair. These chairs still have a little life left in them. I know that they're really getting there, but once I wash them, put them on, get the pillows on, it all looks beautiful again. All right, well, I hope that you enjoyed going around for some summer homemaking. As always, thank you so much for stopping by our farmhouse.